Hello there, wherever you are. Hope you're having a fabulous day. This is Ken Ludwig. This is the Vibrant Living Hour on New Thought Media Network. Hope you're enjoying a fabulous day. I know I am. Just living life, enjoying life. So everything is unfolding for my highest and good, my highest and best. And I kind of know that each and every day. Wow, those glasses are really glaring, aren't they? I'm going to use my glasses a little bit today because I got a couple of things I'm going to read, but we'll take them off for now. They really do. Got to find those blue glasses or whatever the heck they are that don't glare so much. I have another pair that I can wear, but they glare even worse. So bear with me here. Got a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about today, and first and foremost is let's stop for a second here and just talk about the Vibrant Living Hour. This is about living the most vibrant life you can possibly live. It is tied into a Facebook page that my beloved Lisa and I have branded. It's called Vibrant Aging. Vibrant aging is not about when you are getting older. Vibrant aging is knowing the fact that you are getting older from the minute you take your very first breath. So that brings into account vibrant living, taking care of yourself so that as you get into those golden years, if you will, Lord knows I'm there, but when you get there, you're living your best life. You're not a disaster area. And I have a piece I want to read about that later on. But the one of the things that does happen is that the body ages. Things that things happen that are unexpected, things that are kind of the progression of life, if you will. And they're not pleasant in some cases. We always joke around here that this getting older stuff isn't for wusses. This is not for the faint of heart, because there are things that happen that are decidedly unpleasant. One of those is this thing that has happened with my back. Now, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, several weeks ago, I was having some back issues, and let's go back even further than that. I hurt my back for the very first time when I was 16 years old. So that's over 50 years ago, that I have just had a consciousness that my back can be problematic. So I've known that all these years, and I've taken care of it, and I've only really hurt it a couple of times seriously in all that time. So recently, I just had some nagging pain, some annoying pain, and I went to my doctor. And I love my doctor. She's the world's greatest. She's a total Western medicine girl, but is wide open to my way of doing things, which is almost always, what's the alternative? So she sent me for X-rays, and we come back with, I'm experiencing some degeneration in my discs, almost entirely, most likely the result of just growing older. But part of the problem there is, I'm working on that, and we'll talk about what I'm doing there. But part of the problem is that there has been an accompanying bout of sciatica. I don't know if you've ever had sciatica, but what sciatica is basically it's an irritation or an inflammation of your sciatic nerve. Your sciatic nerve runs, it's like three nerves, I think, that come together, and it runs all the way from the base of your spine down to your Achilles heel. And when it's irritated, it can hurt all the way down there, all the full length of that nerve. It can hurt. So there's some irritation of that going on, and some very, very painful sciatica. Now, sciatica comes from basically two primary things. It can be a function of the bones that are out of whack or not quite correct. It can also be a problem with a muscle called the piriformis muscle, which almost no one's heard of. But the piriformis muscle runs over the top of your glutes, on your backside. And my understanding is the sciatic nerve can go through it, can go under it, can go over it, depending on who you are. And sometimes if you wind up with inflammation or tightening, stiffening of that piriformis muscle, you wind up with some sciatica or inflammation of that sciatic nerve. So that's what's going on. That's what I'm experiencing. By the way, I just want to stop here for a second. At first, I was saying, I have degenerating discs. No, I'm not owning that. I have sciatica. I ain't owning that either. All right. I'm experiencing some degeneration in my discs, and I am experiencing some sciatica, some inflammation of my sciatic nerve, but I'm not owning them, because you got to be careful what you say, what what you decide you want to own, what you claim, has a way of coming back and claiming you. So I don't want that to be a part of my reality, that I am owning these experiences. I'm just having these experiences. So that's where we're at. I've been talking about the fact that my first instinct was immediately to go to Dr. Joe Dispenza's first book, Evolve Your Brain, read the 15 pages in that book, pages 15 to 30, by the way, if you're interested, that describe his catastrophic accident during the biking portion of a triathlon when an SUV hit him at 50 miles an hour, literally crushed his spine from the middle of his spine, T8, all the way down his spine through L5. That's basically the middle of your back through the lower portion of your back, right down to your pelvis. They were crushed, and he was never going to, he was told he was going to need a huge operation, putting pins in his back, steel rods in his back, not pins, rods in his back. Two alternatives. One was going to be big rods, one was going to be shorter rods, one was going to be two operations, one was going to be one operation. Bottom line was, he's a chiropractor. He knew better. He's like, none of this sounds really good. And I'll tell you right now, this is just coming from me. If you're given the choice between exploring alternatives and going under the knife on back surgery, explore the alternatives, folks. I have a friend, someone I've never met. She lives in, I think she lives in Maryland and works in DC. She's someone I've known since back in the Twitter days, and I haven't used Twitter since Facebook started. So I've known her for a long time. And she last year had back surgery, and for I think she had some maybe a ruptured disc or something like that. But whatever it was, they put rods in her back. She has been in agony ever since, and I think another operation since. So always take the alternative before you opt for the knife on your back, because literally there are no guarantees when they operate on your back. There just aren't. All right. There are so many nerves back there. It's your spine, man. That's your spinal column is all how your nerves travel through to the lower portion of your body. You want to be careful with all of that. So anyway, that's another piece altogether. I'm knowing that I will never, I was going to say hope, I'm knowing that I will never, ever, ever get to that point where I'm going to need surgery on my back, because I'm working on repairing it. So here's the update. I went to Joe Dispenza's book. I started using those, Joe's work in my meditations. My meditation is very much, a portion of it now is concentrating on rebuilding, regenerating, and rehydrating all of the discs from the one between L5 and S1. S1 is like the beginning of your tailbone. That's the stuff that's in your pelvis. L5 is the lowermost part of your spinal column that's connected to your pelvis, not actually in your pelvis, if that makes sense to you. And I'm concentrating on those discs one at a time. Now, in addition, my L4 vertebrae is forward by about 9 millimeters, which is just a little bit less than 3/8 of an inch. And so I'm also focusing on those discs being regenerating and moving that disc back into position. I also do that exact same function with the disc between L4 and L3. And I work on each one, then the disc between L3 and L2 and L2 and L1. And I actually work my way all the way up to that T8 disc where Joe Dispenza started his catastrophic crushing. And then I just do a kind of a general all the way up the rest of my spine through the rest of my thoracic spine and my cervical spine, my cervical discs. And I am then also focusing some attention on the sciatic nerve and the elimination of the inflammation. I'm still not 100% sure. I think maybe it had something to do with the piriformis, because I think over the course of stretching and yoga that I have really loosened up that piriformis muscle. So it's not so much that anymore. This pain is still there, but it's changed dramatically, especially where it's centered. But the meditations have helped me dramatically. They have made a huge difference. I also found, and I'll give this to you if you're in need of this, I do transcendental meditation. Another story altogether. I learned to meditate in 1978. I've used transcendental meditation all of those years now, 40 whatever years. I have been using that meditation. I've tried many, many others, almost invariably wind up back with TM. And my issue is I'm not really good at letting the noise of the world just happen and just go by. It distracts me. So I have gone to putting in my earbuds and listening to some very meditative music. Now you can Google meditative music and you're going to get more meditations than you can do from now till the day they start throwing dirt in your face. There's that much there. But what I have found is one that was actually, I stumbled on it, was actually around healing nerve pain. It's a very quiet and calm meditation or music, I'm sorry, for the meditation. And it has benefited me without a doubt, particularly with the sciatica. So that's the update really on what's going on back there. And I just want to say, I'm reading 2 books and I'm showing these to you every week so you can see them. There's a lot of glare on that. I don't know if you can see it. Do I need to get it closer? This is Greg Braden's Spontaneous Healing of Belief. And of course, the other one I've already mentioned, Dr. Joe Dispenza's initial book, which is Evolve Your Brain. Two reads that I strongly suggest, not just because I went back to them. I read them many years ago. But I went back to both of them because of my particular situation here with what I'm experiencing on my back. But if you just want to change your life, if you want to move forward in changing what you think, how you think, why you think, what you think, and how to change those things, those 2 books are, I don't know that there's anything better in the world. Your belief is everything. Your belief is nothing more than thoughts you continue to have. And if you look at it from that simple perspective, then it's really, really possible to anybody's imagination to realize that you can change those beliefs. You can just change what you're thinking. And it's not overly difficult if you follow a path. And both Joe and Greg Braden give you that kind of a path. I did, last week I read something to you. I think it fits in here right now. It's about faith, and it's from Dr. Ernest Holmes, who wrote this many years ago. And I love this, and I think it's an important piece of the puzzle if we're going to talk about belief here for a minute. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea, which so completely accepts it, that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. I read that twice last week. I want to read it twice for you again. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of itself. I'm sorry, starting over because I just ad-libbed that. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea, which so completely accepts it, that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. Whatever you have faith in as a direct result of what you believe. And what you believe is just, as I said earlier, an accumulation of thoughts that you continue to have. Those are your beliefs. That faith is what drives your very life. You have faith in a certain set of beliefs, and that faith moves you to do the things that you do, to be the things that you be, which in my world is much more important. I'm focusing as I get older, it becomes more important to be really conscious of how much more I am a human being than I am a human doing. But all of it is a function of what I believe. Now, in some instances, what I believe doesn't necessarily serve me. And what I believe, sometimes I wind up with evidence that contradicts what I believe. Now, do I change my belief? Or do I continue to believe what I believe and try and ignore evidence to the contrary? I mean, we live in a world right now where there is this idea of belief that is contradictory to evidence is everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think sometimes what causes us to continue to believe what we believe in spite of the evidence is the fact that we don't have any tools to use to change our belief, or we're not open, or we have a blind faith in what our belief is. Faith, I believe, is a fluid thing. It's certainly a fluid thing for me. My faith has changed over the years, and the things in many, many different areas, many different things that I have faith in, it has changed. But going back to those 2 books, Evolve Your Brain and the spontaneous healing of belief. Those are two tools to help you continue to have a fluid brain, a fluid belief system, and a fluid faith. So that's a piece, that's an extended piece on what's going on with me physically, with my back. And you know what? One more piece. Joe Dispenza convinced me many moons ago, and there's another book up here on my shelf from Dr. Bruce Lipton. That's really funny. I'm pointing the wrong way, aren't I? It's over here. Dr. Bruce, yeah, I'm pointing the right way. Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote The Biology of Belief, which was really the first one of all of those. And that changed my consciousness around who's in charge. It's not all about genetics. In fact, the science of epigenetics tells me and tells us all that you are not 100% subject to your genetics. You are not a victim of your genetics. In fact, in a great many ways, you're in control of your genetics. Your faith, your belief, and your activity is going to influence to a great extent how your genes fire, which ones express at which time. And a lot of that has to do with what's going on up here. It has to do with what neurons are firing together with other neurons, creating the flow of brain chemicals, of jeepers. Sometimes I love it when just a word goes right out of your head. But the flow of oxytocin, of serotonin, or of cortisol, that flow is directly caused by what goes on in your brain. And those chemicals running through your body influence how your genes fire and which genes fire when and what your experience is physically as those genes fire. So once again, back to those books, tools to help you learn who's in control. I am clear that what I am doing mentally and emotionally from that mental work in my meditation is healing my back and healing my sciatica. And I'm here to tell you, it's not like a boom, done, healed. No, that's not what it is. It's a process and it takes time. And especially when you're in pain, it takes even more time, because so often when you're trying to do something to change what is causing the pain, to influence it, to heal it, you still get sucked into the pain. It's very, very, very hard to be at the top of your game mentally, emotionally, spiritually when you feel in pain or you feel like crap all the time. That's one of my things about vibrant living. It's one of my things about nutrition and exercise and sleep and positive thinking is America walks around feeling like crap. And we don't realize that we feel like crap until we stop feeling like crap. And then we want to know, wow, do I have to keep doing this for the rest of my life? Or can I go back to what I was doing? No, keep doing it for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're going to go back to feeling like crap. Again, another workshop altogether. On that note, focusing on nutrition, focusing on what goes into our body. Your health, your experience of your health begins and ends to a great extent with what you put in your mouth. We live in a world where we're putting unbelievable amounts of garbage in our mouths. Guilty. My beloved Lisa changed my life when I met her 17 years ago, and how she started to change what food got put on the table and what food got purchased at the grocery store. Way more vegetables, way just better eating, more organic stuff, more natural stuff. A lot of things that I loved went right out the window because it was a package filled with crap, and I ate pretty good. Look, not to say I was some kind of troglodyte in that regard. I ate pretty good at the time, but she changed my whole eating habits entirely. And now we focus very, very much on what we eat and what goes into your body. But unless you're conscious all the time about what that's all looking like, how that's all transpiring, unless you're doing that, stuff creeps in. I know I've mentioned before, but I've been sober for almost 33 years. And before I got sober, sweets, I had a sweet tooth. I had a terrible sweet tooth. Not terrible, but I had a sweet tooth. And I was young and I could eat pretty much whatever the hell I wanted. But when I quit drinking, your body metabolizes sugar and alcohol very similarly. And for a lot of people who drink too much, when they quit drinking, all of a sudden they start to crave more sugar. Hello. So that's what happened to me, and sugar became its own food group. And only in the recent and very recently have I cut way back on the sugar. And that's another story altogether that maybe we'll go into another time, of what my experience with sugar has been. But the little by little, it creeps back in. I love my sweets. I love ice cream. I love cookies. There's never been a bad chocolate chip cookie, I think, unless somebody made it gluten-free or something before the days when you could make gluten-free palatable. But a good chocolate chip cookie. You know what I love? Chips Ahoy. Probably a lot of crap in that bag, but I always loved them. But little by little, those things creep back in. And what I've discovered over time is that you really need to maybe take a little bit of time out and cleanse your body. It can be an extensive cleanse depending on what you got going on. It can be a parasite cleanse if you've got those kinds of things going on. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but in my professional life, I have been coaching for the last decade people through nutritional cleansing and weight release protocols, trying to get back into the habit of using the words weight release, not weight loss. Weight loss doesn't work. You lose your keys, you find them. You lose the weight, you find them. And I think I said this maybe another time, is that I've coached dozens of women, scores of women who had lost the same 15, 20 pounds, 15, 20 times. That's what losing weight looks like. You lose it and then you find it. You lose it, then you find it. And everybody's going through this thing right now with the virus, with the quarantine. There's lots of joking about the quarantine 15. Now, I didn't have 15, but I'm not an emotional eater. What I am is a bored eater. Are you one of those people like me where when you got nothing else to do, you go to the refrigerator, open it up, just see what's inside? You're not hungry. It's just something to do. And then next thing you know, you're eating a muffin or eating half a bagel or something that you really didn't need. You probably weren't even hungry, but there it was, so you did it. I've been kind of wrestling with this for a while. I'm going away on vacation here next week. My wife and I are taking a short trip to North Carolina, going to visit a little bit of family and check North Carolina out because I've never seen it. She's been there a couple of times, but I've never seen North Carolina. And I have one sister that's lived there for 25 years. But so I decided I was going to, just maybe cleanse my body, lose a little weight. Now I'm doing something, it's a 2-day cleanse. And I am actually, it's Ken's cleanse, folks. This is not anything I've ever coached anyone through in all the years I've been coaching. This is something I designed myself for me for 2 days. I'm using products from 3 different companies that are working. And I didn't weigh myself yesterday morning, which was a mistake. But I know I was weighing in the vicinity of 185, 186 pounds. And I had been as high as 188, but I was weighing in recently at 185, 186, maybe down 184 one day or two, somewhere along the line. I really consider my ideal weight to be about 172 to 175 pounds. So, maybe 8, 10 pounds over where I really want to be. I started this cleansing yesterday. Now, it's not an easy cleanse. It requires some willingness because the only thing I had to eat yesterday was some almonds, some cashews, and some pistachios. And then late yesterday afternoon, I had an apple. That was it. Otherwise, I'm just using a cleansing powder and I'm using some capsules and some other ingredients. This morning, I weighed 178.6 pounds. So no matter what happened, I'm down at least 5 pounds and change, more like 6 or 7. So I'm really thrilled with it. And that's overnight. And I woke up this morning feeling fabulous. That's the beauty of some things that I've added to this to give me some vitality when I wake up. And I've used the same protocol today. Now I have not, now it's 3:00 in the afternoon Mountain Time, or 3:30 now, and I have not had anything but what I've told you about earlier. And I had some cashews and some pistachios today. That's it. I'll have an apple when the show is over. And then I have one more of my cleansed drinks that I'll do before I go to bed tonight. But I'm expecting that I will do another at least 3 or 4 pounds, which is just phenomenal, feeling great. I don't feel depleted even a little. By the way, the other piece of that puzzle that's really important is this: drinking lots of water. So that's the that's pretty much the whole thing on that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you about was there is a product that I've been doing for I think 3 years now. It's a one of a kind product in the world, and there's a long story that goes with this, and I'll be glad to tell you the story if you're interested. Just find me. Which reminds me, I should put up my my little banners here. Let's see if I can do this. I'm producing my own show today here, folks. So bear with me and see if I can pull this off. There it goes. I did it. What does that say? I guess I have to put on my glasses to do this, don't I? And the I can't. That's not the right one. That's why. Oh, I see. I've got several here. There you go. There's how to reach me. Okay. There's ways to reach me. So if you're interested in knowing more about this product, it's called Biome Medic, and it is boy. I really got to get them in close to the camera there, underneath the light, I guess. Like I said, a one of a kind product in the world. It cleanses your gut and helps to refurbish the bacteria, the good bacteria in your gut, and the villi. And I don't know if you know what the villi are, but those are the little finger-like appendages on the inside of your intestines that are responsible for literally 100% of your nutritional assimilation. And we're in desperate need of that because our guts are horribly compromised just because of the crap that's in our food, but one particular ingredient in particular. And you know what? And I'm not going to talk about that. It's glyphosate, but I'm not going to talk about it again. That's another whole other workshop. But that's something I've been taking by way of cleansing my body every single day. I take a capsule in the morning, a capsule at night. You want to know more about that? Just follow the directions down here at the bottom and email me, text me if you have my phone number. I'll be glad to tell you more about it. That's pretty much all of that. One other piece that I didn't mention that I want to mention again that I mentioned last week, a huge piece of the puzzle for me these days is my CBD. I wonder why I can't get a good picture. See, I can get it back here. My CBD, I'm using 750 milligram CBD, the purest, the best, third-party validated CBD that I've been able to find. And of course, it's a shameless plug because, full disclosure, I sell it. And if you're interested in that, in fact, there's a whole line of CBD products and hemp infused products with this one company that is literally off the charts. I've never seen more products, everything from dog treats to bacon flavored pet oils to 7 different flavors of tinctures in 3 different strengths, 3 different concentrations, 500 milligrams, 750, 1500 milligram, and in both full spectrum and broad spectrum. Full spectrum is the legal limit of 0.3% THC, which, trust me, you drink a 5-gallon bucket, you ain't getting high. And broad spectrum, which is totally THC free for anybody who might be allergic, the rare allergy to THC, or for anyone who takes a very sensitive work-related drug test. Then the broad spectrum has no THC. There's nothing to detect. So that's there. And then skincare, hair care, bath bombs, it's off the charts. Gummies. They have a whole new line of gummies coming out that is going to have actual real THC in it. It actually does have THC. They are already advertising them. They're not going to be ready till mid next month, I believe. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about with you today is this is something that's been on my radar for a long time. I don't think I've read this before, but it's one of my all-time favorites, and it's I always want to read it because too often I screw it up because it's because it's different. But this is it. Maybe the question is not, why am I so seldom the person I really want to be? But rather, why do I so seldom want to be the person who I really am? And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about belief and and our faith in, but in particular, it's about faith in who we are, faith in what we've decided we've become or we're becoming. And I think I love the idea of asking what if questions around all of that. What if I decided I'm enough? What if I decided that I was going to stop worrying? What if I decided that I was just simply going to allow the universe to supply my abundance? Whatever I require and desire, the universe is supplying it. I don't have to strain. I don't have to coerce. I don't have to work my butt off. I just simply allow it to be. What if I claimed the good that the universe has to offer and just allowed the universe to deliver? What if I decided, as I mentioned earlier, that I really wanted to focus on being and not doing? What if I decided to stop talking about cleansing and releasing weight and just went about and did it? What if I stopped procrastinating? What if I stopped comparing myself to others? What if I stopped judging? What if I stopped needing to be right? Any of those do you relate to? Because I relate to virtually all of them. I think they're coming into my mind because that's me saying, what if I stopped doing all this crap? Somewhere along the line, we have to learn to water what works. What is it that I am doing that is working for me 100% of the time? And what is it that I'm doing that never works for me, but I continue to do it? You know, every time you get mad, every time you get pissed off at something, at somebody, every time you express your pissosity about whatever it is that you're not quite in alignment with, you sacrifice a bit of your immune system. You flick on that fight or flight response. You flood your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Now, those things are really, cortisol and adrenaline are great things. They're especially great when the lion is about to eat you in the jungle. But that's not where we live these days. We mostly live in a world where our autonomic nervous system, which is that fight or flight response, is kind of turned on all day, every day. And it requires a conscious effort to say, what if I just wanted to stop that? And one of the surefire ways that I know, of course, is meditation, affirmations, prayer work. And you know, when I'm not, I do affirmative prayer. Affirmative prayer, you hear a lot about on this network. Affirmative prayer, are just affirmative prayer times on this network where you can tune in and listen to an affirmative prayer. But affirmative prayer is literally just claiming the good. It's not begging for anything. It's not bargaining, begging, making a deal with the divine. It is not supplicating yourself. I am not worthy. It is simply recognizing that all the good the universe has to offer, all the good that the overarching creative intelligence has to offer is yours, and it's there, and it's in the quantum field, and you need to collapse that quantum field around what it is you desire, and you do that by claiming it, not by begging for it. But having said that, if you're someone who is used to supplicant prayer, if you're someone used to the prayer that I always relate to the Judeo-Christian traditions, if that's something that resonates with you, if that brings you peace of mind, then please, by all means, do it. Because what brings you peace of mind is what helps you to move away from those things that are not working for you, and helps to bring you to watering what is working for you. To me, it's monstrously important. I've reached a time in life where I'm concerned with who I've become and who I am becoming. And quite honestly, I'm pretty proud of who I've become. And who I'm becoming is something that I focus on to the extent that I'd like to just be more. And that's one of my things, is the universe is inviting me 24/7, 365 to be more. And when I accept that invitation, I already am more, but then I need to move my feet. I need to do something in regard, or sit and be that person that I've decided this is who I'm becoming. Back to Joe Dispenza's meditation idea. Joe, I love the idea of be committed to the idea that when you sit down for meditation, you are not getting up until you are someone different from who you were when you sat down. Wow. Try that on for size. Every single time you sit to meditate, be really, really, really clear. I'm not getting up until I'm different than I was when I sat down. Now, that can be in little tiny itty bitty ways. Doesn't have to be anything big, but still be someone more than you were when you sat down. Address some of those questions. Sit down and contemplate to yourself, what if I decided I'm enough? What if I stopped comparing myself to other people? Contemplate those things. What would life be like if I stopped judging? I think there's a lot to be said there for just how we grow, what we grow into. Becoming more is, to me, it's kind of embracing integrity. Integrity is one of my favorite words, actually, because integrity is, we think about it as truth and honesty. And I love a more architectural definition of integrity, which is nothing missing from the whole. Think about that. If there's something about myself that I wish to change, or if there's something I wish to enhance, it's because it's not what it could be. Maybe there's just something missing from the whole there. And I want to make it more sound, more structurally sound. I want to make me more structurally sound. Just a thought. All of that work makes us feel better. And it is absolutely in feeling better that we learn to experience life at a different level. That we learn to experience life at a level where we are attracting into our experience more to feel better about. That's the brain chemicals that we love, serotonin, oxytocin. And we have this, and there is this cycle that I learned from Joe Dispenza, that we learn to, our body becomes addicted to the expectation of those brain chemicals coming from our brain. And it literally signals the brain, send that. And we send those feel-good chemicals. And the body says, wow, yes, send more. And the brain obliges. So we're not just feeling what we're thinking. We're actually thinking what we're feeling. I love that. I'll probably talk about that a lot on the show here because it's important to me. It's important to who I am, and I think it should be important to each and every one of us about who we are and who we're becoming. What else did I have here in my little notes? I had one that came from, I don't know if I said this one before. It came from a TV show, actually, Black Sails. But here's a take on it as I've thought about this. When you're trying to change yourself, the possibility of failure is connected to one very simple and undeniable thing, and that is everybody else. Because everybody else has you defined. And if you want to be something different, more, bigger, better, pick your own adjective. I think those are adjectives. If that's what you really want to truly be in this world, you have to make a decision around the idea that nothing that anyone else says or does matters. I am not concerned with what you think of me. Her name just went right out of my head. Great book. Your opinion of me is none of my business. And boy, that's really funny. I know I connect with the woman who wrote that's the name of that book 100% of the time until this very moment. Terry Cole Whitaker, there you go. She wrote that book. Your opinion of me is none of my business. And those are words to live by. I've never read the book. I'm not sure I think I may have felt that I don't need to read the book. The title just told me everything I need to know. Don't take anything personally, as it says in the 4 agreements, is what that means. Nothing that anyone says or thinks about me really makes a difference in who I want to be unless I allow it. Or if it's something positive, unless I embrace it. But it gives me the opportunity to be me, to be just simply concerned with me. What is the next highest vision of Ken Ludwig? Not what is the next highest vision of me through your eyes, but through my own thoughts, through my own eyes. What is that next highest vision? And just let everything else go. Let everyone else go. Let it go. That's a new theme in my life, man. Learn to let it go. Maybe one of the most difficult things in the world to do is to let it go, especially when we talk about things we talked about earlier, faith and belief, changing them, letting them go. But letting go of other people's opinions, especially if you have lived in a space where you're always trying to impress someone, or people in particular, or just people in general, always trying to impress. I know I spent a good deal of my life doing exactly that, and it got me exactly nowhere. What it got me feeling was always feeling inadequate, always feeling like I wasn't enough because I was always trying to be something for someone else. If I'm being someone for me, then I'm either proud of it, not proud of it, or changing it. For me, it's important at this stage of my life. For me, it's very important at this stage of my life. I want to check the time here. Where are we time-wise? I want to talk about this, and it's not necessarily in the theme of this show, although I think everything that goes on in the world around us gives us an opportunity to express vibrant living or to seek vibrant living. Just like everything that happens is either an expression of love or a call to love. We just this past week had the culmination of the George Floyd trial. And lots of people had their fingers crossed and were hoping against hope that there was going to be the verdicts that actually happened. So often those verdicts have not come when it was obvious they needed to come. And this time, the justice system was served. I mean, people say, justice was served. Well, true justice would be George Floyd would still be walking the planet. But the justice system was served. The justice system actually worked. It proved whole. It proved that integrity I mentioned earlier. And there were some fascinating aspects of it. Some fascinating aspects of all of the breaking of that blue line, or whatever they call that. That's blue line, I think, is what they call it. But the numbers of police officers and police superiors and police trainers who came forward and said that what happened to George Floyd was an absolute aberration, that it was a demonstration of excessive force, and the force went on for too long, that 9 minutes and 29 seconds, just obviously not what should have happened. No one in any situation like that, traffic stop, street stop, the fellow in New York who was selling cigarettes one at a time illegally, or whatever he was doing, that none of those things should be a death sentence on the street. There is no rule of law that calls for the execution of a suspect by law enforcement. None. But the one piece of this that really, really sticks is that video. that video that was taken by a young 17-year-old girl, Darnella Frazier, who in my mind is an absolute hero. As she was scared, traumatized, freaked out, she kept that camera on that scene for the entirety of that horrible demonstration. She kept it on there. This is a true hero. But this is a kid who had, when she testified, said that she lies awake every single night apologizing to George Floyd for not having been able to do more, for not having been able to save him. I think there's a little piece there for each and every single one of us to stop and think about what more can we do. I don't expect that I should apologize for every bit of social injustice that I've ever witnessed. And I've been around for 7 decades and I've witnessed some social injustice in my time. I'm not guilty for any of them. But what I am concerned with is the idea that each and every one of us, we are living in a time where the idea of if you see something, say something, or if you see something, do something, it's never, ever, ever been more important than it is right now. We have reached a period in time where social injustice is right there, folks. It's in our face. It's in our face every bit as much as it was during the Civil Rights Movement. It's in our face every bit as much as it was watching the beatings on the Edwin Pettus Bridge, on John Lewis's heroics in that day and age, Martin Luther King. What they did, they brought social injustice into our faces, and it's here again. We are witnessing a time in history where we are seeing a flood, a resurgence. Not its resurgence because it's always been there, so it's not resurging, but it is coming out from under the rock under which it should live, which is white supremacy. And we're seeing in our society the disparity between those of privilege, and I mean white privilege, and people of color. We have seen the disparity demonstrated just every single day in the shape of this pandemic. How people of color have been so much more drastically affected, and for many, many, many different reasons. So many of the people of color who were affected by the virus and who died because of the virus had underlying issues. The most notorious of which is obesity, obesity is absolutely, it's part and parcel of poverty. And that's another workshop too, folks, but it's part of that. And I think there has been an awakening, a raising of consciousness around this idea that we are not all in the same boat. We are all in the same storm, but some of us are floating around in luxury liners and some of us are in a leaky canoe. We need to reach out to the people who make the laws. We need to make sure that we are vocal protagonists for equity. Equality isn't the same thing as equity. Equality puts us all on the same level. Equity has a tendency to lift up those who have been knocked down. That's equity. I want to be a voice for that. I want to be Mahatma Gandhi's "Be the Change." If you see something, say something. If you see something, do something. Make a difference. Make a difference. Give to whatever causes you can give. And you know what? Speaking of causes to give to, let's, where am I doing here? I'm not sure I had that banner up there. Facebook.com, it says Vibrant Living, but actually Facebook.com is Vibrant Aging, which is kind of the sister the sister Facebook page to this. I mean, we're going to change that, I think, to Vibrant Aging, Vibrant Living. But also, donate to us. Anything, whatever you got. There's the banner up there. New Thought Media, ntmedia.org. And I think it's /donate, isn't it? Got to put on the glasses again. Click on donate. New Thought, ntmedia.org, newthoughtmedia.org. Click on donate. And whatever it is, nickels, dimes, dollars. If this is someplace, the idea of tithing is to give to where you are spiritually enriched. If we are spiritually enriching you, we'd love to have your thoughts. We'd love to have your donations. And you know what I didn't have on here today? I didn't have on my comments, and I know I have one comments here. Old friend put up and I don't know what this means. Judy Woods, Pandora Zen Music. Oh, I see. She's talking about the meditation thing I was talking about earlier. Pandora Zen Music. That's one. If you have Pandora, there's one outlet for finding the music that you need. Anybody else, if you got a comment, please put it up here. Try to remember to address them. I forgot to turn it on earlier today. But thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. That's there. And literally, if you have Pandora, that's great because you can actually probably create like your own little channel of that stuff. But I just Google and got, like I said, a bazillion. And once you start listening to a few, then you wind up with a whole, if you have, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. If you the things I subscribe to, if you click on the like MSN or whoever I subscribe to, you have a whole list of their shows. But if you wind up doing the meditation thing, underneath that one meditation that you're listening to will be a whole list of other meditations. I have a meditation playlist in my YouTube channel that I probably have 20 different meditations on that, as well as a whole slew of segments from Esther Hicks and Abraham, which I love to listen to. If you want to get yourself in a positive mood, if we talked about this earlier, if you want to get positive thoughts when things are negative, just again, Google Abraham Hicks Rampage of Appreciation, and those are usually 8, 9, 10, 12 minutes long. Listen to Esther Hicks channel Abraham in a Rampage of Appreciation. Those will get you in a good mood. I know I've mentioned this book. I'm probably on this show. I've mentioned it so many times in my life. I don't know where I've mentioned it, where I haven't. But there's also a great book out there. It's many years old by a guy named Peter McWilliams called "You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought." And when you talk in terms of what negative thoughts do to your physical body, you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. Again, all those, cortisol and adrenaline and those things that cause tension, stress on our cells of our body, you literally can't afford those negative thoughts. So check out that book. You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought, Peter McWilliams. And I think no other comments. Bummer. I wanted more comments, man. We got a few minutes left in the show here. Remember to donate if you would, please. I'm going to take that donate banner down, and I'm supposed to be using a mouse to do this, but I'm so trepidatious about the mouse that I don't use it very much. You can always email me right here, teamrocketnow@gmail.com. You can find me there. You can find me at Facebook. And if this actually worked today for the destinations it was supposed to go to, it went to my personal page, Ken Ludwig. It went to Coach Ken. It went to Vibrant Aging. It went to Making It Out Alive. It went to my YouTube channel. It went to New Thought Media's YouTube channel, and also to New Thought Media's Facebook page. So, and also to Science of Mind Facebook page. So there's any number of ways that you can view this. I hope you're watching. I hope you'll watch every time I come on. If you do, great. If you don't, also great. Anything I can do for you in the way of nutritional health, nutritional cleansing, nutritional weight release, find me. I'm here to help you however I can. If you want to know a little bit more about this cleanse that I'm doing, where I lost somewhere between 5 and 8 pounds, but more like 5 or 7 pounds in 24 hours. find me. I'll be glad to tune you into it. I can't really tell you too much about it because, again, it's from 3 different companies, so the products are dispersed. I did want to say, no, I'm not. I'm going to save this for next week. Growing bolder. Oh, it's all about growing older and not getting old, which is what vibrant living and vibrant aging are all about. It is without question, just simply growing older. If you're sitting around on the couch watching TV, munching Doritos, you might as well crawl in the hole and let them start throwing dirt in your face. The idea is to grow. Say yes to things. As we get older, it gets really, really easy to say no because we're set in our ways. We do what we do. People ask us to do other things, and we're like, no, I'm good. Say yes. Do different things. Read. Get a hobby. Do whatever it is. And again, vibrant aging is not about 50s, 60s, 70s. Vibrant aging is 20s, 30s, 40s. That's why we went with the idea of vibrant living. Do different things. Embrace different things. Embrace life. Embrace living. I think that's about all I got for you today. It's we got about 3 minutes before the hour, a little bit early here. I'm gonna sign off here. As always, I am immensely grateful for the incredible gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all of the love and all of the blessings that the universe has to offer. I will see you next week right here, same time, same place, Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Time on New Thought Media Network. I was going to say .com, but it's New Thought Media Network. That's it. New Thought Media Network. That's all you need to know. And I'll see you here next week. Love and blessings. Until next time, namaste.